Thank you. Mr. Fisher.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, Minister and gentlemen. Minister, as per your mandate letter, you're to work with the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities to make new investments in green infrastructure. I've said it before, I've said it here at this committee. Real environmental leadership starts with us here in government. I'll use a few examples of just here in the Hill. You walk into a washroom in Centre Block, the radiator's blasting at 110 degrees and someone's opened the window because it's too hot. We've got electric vans driving around in circles all day long, driving MPs around. Sorry, gas-powered vehicles, not electric. When we should have electric, we should have charging stations, we should have bike racks, we should have bike share. I would happily take a bike and go down to Confed after each meeting. There are many other opportunities just right here, not counting federal government across the board, not counting what you've spoken about with municipal governments. I know in my municipality, in Halifax Regional Municipality, they did Solar City. They're taking some and that's the Green Municipal Fund as well. So there are a lot of people doing individual things at government, but what ways do you think that we can lead by example, specifically us, to send a message to industry and Canadians that we're serious about this and hopes that they will follow our examples?
Thank you very much. That is a really critical question. Nothing drives me crazier than the example you said, where you've got a furnace blowing and it's so hot that you've got the window open. We know we can do a lot better. Government procurement, clearly we need to be doing a lot more and thinking across the board, how do we do better? I provided one example, social housing. We cannot be giving money, we're not supporting social housing providers without having some, expectation that we're going to be building energy efficient housing. So certainly through the infrastructure money we're investing, whether it's in social infrastructure, obviously public transit, green infrastructure, we need to make sure that we have standards so that we actually get reductions in emissions. In terms of the whole of government approach, I think that's very important. We're looking at Government of Canada buildings. How do we ensure that they are at the highest standards when it comes to efficiency? Electric vehicles. I'm hopefully changing soon. I'm going to look over at my deputy to an electric vehicle. I have a hybrid, but I would really like to have an electric vehicle. We have an electric vehicle charging station at Environment Canada and Environment and Climate Change Canada, but we should have that across the board. Our fleet should be electric vehicles. We absolutely do need to be leading by example. Very personally, on a personal note, I'm a huge cyclist, so it just drives me crazy that there are no bike racks out in front of Parliament Hill, because I think that if you have them out there, people will see, they'll be reminded that it's actually faster to get around, often by bikes. I'm happy to lend you a bike, Darren.
Happy to take it.
I can double it. No, actually we can't double. That is not a good practice. But I think you're absolutely right that there are lots of ways where, in particular through procurement, we can do a better job, but department by department, looking at how do we ensure we have the best practices. I will give a shout out to many provinces that they look at how they can reduce their emissions. How do they become a net zero government? I think that there are certainly ways we could do better. I'd be very interested in hearing the committee's view in this regard. The good news is we also, as part of the working group process with the provinces and territories, as part of the mitigation working group, there's a sub-working group on government procurement where I'm going to be challenging our government to look at what are we doing.
Good, that's great. Do I have any more time, Madam Chair?
You do, yep.
Okay, so
2 minutes.
If your job is to protect Canada's fresh water by using education, geomapping, watershed protection, and investments in better wastewater treatment, and you're committed to setting higher air quality standards, you probably know I've introduced my private member's bill, have to put a plug in for this, the National Strategy for Safe Disposal of Lamps Containing Mercury Act. My bill requests that you work with provincial and territorial governments across Canada to develop a strong strategy to keep mercury out of our waterways and our air. Can you let us know here in the committee what other measures you're taking that would complement this strategy?
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate your bill. We are studying the bill. Clearly, that's something that the safe disposal of mercury-containing lamps is a very important issue. Look, we're looking at all, a variety of different ways that we can reduce, wastewater. As you may recall, one of the first things I had to address was the issue of wastewater disposal in Montreal. That was a really tough file, but why was I having to make a decision which was the best decision based on the science? I had to do it because the infrastructure was just not there. So I think you've seen the commitments on infrastructure in terms of fresh water. We have a number of different programs. I'm happy to follow up with you. I think I'm going to run out of time here.
You've got within the minute. You're okay.
And air quality, certainly something also that we are, that we look at all the measures that we can be taking to ensure that we have, cleaner air. I think that, in terms of specific measures, probably my deputy can talk more about some examples. But I certainly appreciate when we get, thoughtful suggestions from parliamentarians about things that we could be doing better, because this is both water, air, very big priority for the department.
Just